Fairly big deal. He has said that then ex-Vice President Biden in May 2017, and texts seem to show that he met with then ex-Vice President Biden in early 2017, along with, it seems like, Hunter Biden and James Biden. And Bob Ulinsky says that at sort of a high level, the business efforts that were ongoing were discussed, and that he thinks it was pretty clear that Joe Biden was at least aware of the business efforts that were going on with Hunter.
And if you don't believe Bob Ulinsky, then listen to the president himself from a phone message found on the laptop.
Hey, Palace Dad, it's 8:15 on Wednesday night. If you get a chance, give me a call. Nothing urgent. Just want to talk to you. I thought the article, at least the thing online, is going to be printed tomorrow in the Times, was good. I think it's clear. And anyway, if you get a chance, give me a call. I love you.
You can hear Joe Biden leave a voicemail for Hunter, and he's talking about a New York Times story that's just come out, and it was investigating CEFC Chairman Yi, basically all the partners of Hunter Biden and Jim Biden that were giving them millions of dollars. And the Biden family was panicked that the whole story was going to blow up. As it turned out, when the story was published, there was hardly any mention of the Bidens. The Bidens were in the clear.
In addition to evidence on the laptop, Chairman Comer says he's received new leads from whistleblowers.
We've had whistleblowers from a financial institution. We've had whistleblowers who were former business associates. We've also had a whistleblower who alleges to have been on a call with the president and Hunter Biden in one of these shady business deals. So these are the people that we want to hear from under oath.
One allegation that especially worries Comer is that the Biden family tried to sell China access to U.S. oil and gas. According to Josh Boswell of the Daily Mail, Joe Biden was named in an October 2017 email found on Hunter's abandoned laptop discussing a multi-million-dollar natural gas deal with China. In the email, Louisiana attorney Robert Finette told Hunter Biden and Jim Biden he had secured a contract for them with a Houston-based energy company to be available for a call from Joe Biden and Hunter Biden on Monday morning to discuss the purchase of 5 million tons of gas.
Where Hunter Biden was trying to not only sell them liquefied natural gas from the United States, but also, according to a whistleblower, helping them try to get their foot in the door to where they can start purchasing interest in the natural gas drillers. Can you imagine China owning the natural gas drillers in the United States? That's a huge national security risk. That's why we're investigating Joe Biden. I mean, this is very serious stuff.
Another tip led to a new House Republican inquiry into Hunter Biden's former Chinese secretary, Jackie Bao.
She goes and works for the Chinese Communist Party. And then somehow she ends up in the United States working for Hunter Biden. We are concerned that she may be a spy.
Bao, however, has not been implicated in any professional or criminal misconduct in connection with her work for Hunter Biden, who has congressional investigators curious about his banking records. Comer says they contain an alarming number of suspicious activity reports.
With suspicious activity reports, this is the bank notifying the federal government that we're pretty certain our client has committed a crime. Now think about that. I can tell you with confidence that 99.999% of Americans never even come close to getting a suspicious activity report. Hunter Biden has had 150.
These suspicious activity reports, they don't really implicate anybody, but what they do is they lay down the financial trail. It shows you where the money was coming from and where it was going to. It was coming from China, it was coming from Burisma, it was coming from Ukraine, coming from Russia. Wherever it was coming from, we now see the money trail through the bank accounts and into Biden family coffers or the bank accounts of their business partners.
Hunter Biden has not been charged with any criminal misconduct in connection with his banking. Representative Comer, however, believes Joe Biden tried to hide those reports from Congress, and he now wants to know why.
But here's the interesting thing about the suspicious activity reports. Prior to Joe Biden becoming president, under George Bush, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump, any committee in Congress could request those suspicious activity reports from Treasury. When Joe Biden became president, one of the first rule changes he made was he changed the rule to where Congress couldn't have access to suspicious activity reports. Now, why would he do that? At the time, nobody knew. And in fact, Maxine Waters, when she heard about it, she put language in legislation that would give Congress the authority to get those SARs again, because she didn't know that Hunter Biden had 150. None of us knew that. But then when it came out that Hunter Biden had 150 suspicious activity reports, and I tried to access those, they said, no, that was a rule change that Joe Biden made. Well, that's a perfect example of Joe Biden being compromised because of his son's shady business dealings. These were created to help everyone communicate to try to ward off illegal foreign transactions coming in for crime, for terrorism. And he changed the rules because his son had 150 of those. That's very serious. And that's something that we hope that the Treasury Department will give those to us.
And new emails further suggest Joe Biden was indeed aware of Hunter's overseas business deals. According to the Daily Mail, emails dating back to 2014 show the Veep met in the White House with two Chinese energy executives from a company called Wenshen, which partnered with Hunter Biden's company, Seneca Global Partners, for a $1.25 billion natural gas plant in China. According to the report and the White House visitor logs, Biden met with Wenshen America President Pin Ni on July 25th, 2014.
We have lots of evidence that Vice President Biden met in the White House, the Obama White House, with associates of Hunter Biden, people who were business associates of Hunter Biden's company. I mean, if you're in a company and the company has some matter before the government and your partner can get you into the White House, that's a huge benefit.
As the investigations in Congress ramp up, one by a Delaware grand jury should be winding down.
David Weiss is the US attorney in Delaware. He has been investigating Hunter Biden for about 4 years over his overseas business dealings. We've heard variously it's about tax evasion, money laundering, and violations of the FARA Act, the Foreign Agents Registration Act. And we have been waiting for an indictment that hasn't come.
The Washington Post earlier this year broke a story saying that they had spoken to investigators in this Hunter Biden federal criminal investigation who claim that they have enough evidence to charge over tax crimes and certain gun crimes as well.
The gun offense relates to Hunter purchasing a firearm when he was actively using drugs.
Hunter bought a .38 from a gun store in Wilmington, Delaware. On the form, the federal form that you fill out to purchase the gun, he checked the box saying that he was not an addict or a user of any controlled or illegal substances. But in his memoir, he wrote that at the time he was actually a, quote, full-blown addict. That would be a felony, and one that is not always pursued by prosecutors, but certainly could be. In prima facie, you have all of the evidence there to prosecute him for that crime.
President Biden doesn't seem to think it's a big deal.
He came along and said, by the way, this thing about a gun, I didn't know anything about it, but it turns out that when he made an application to purchase a gun, what happened was I guess you get asked, I don't guess, you get asked the question, are you on drugs, you use drugs? He said no. And he wrote about saying no in his book. So I have great confidence in my son. I love him, and he's on a straight and narrow, and he has been for a couple of years now, and I'm just so proud of him.
The second crime that the FBI allegedly have enough evidence for the Delaware prosecutor to charge Hunter Biden over is a tax crime. That is likely unpaid taxes from some of his overseas business deals. We know that Kevin Morris, who is an attorney who's helping Hunter Biden, lent him or gave him as much as $2 million to pay off that tax debt to the IRS. Now, that is the kind of thing that people usually do when they're trying to stave off a prosecution for unpaid taxes. They try and get rid of that tax debt as quickly as they can. We may see that prosecution going forward.